afterwards. And when you take a look at what's happening in the group, it means that France now top the group, 1 goal difference better than Italy, who also qualify elsewhere. Israel would beat Belgium 1-0. So a couple of happy Frenchmen join us in the forms of Julien Laurens and Frank Leboeuf.
Talk all you want.
Frank, this was so different to what we saw against Israel.
Well, yeah, completely different mood, completely different willingness, and they did what they had to do. They reacted very well. Don't forget that they lost at home against Italy on the first game, the first leg, and they proved all us wrong. You know, we all thought that maybe that team was in transition. They're not. They're not. When they want to play, when they want to give a good level, they produce. And it was a great game to watch. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Nation League, but today I have to say the level was high. Coming from Italy or France, that was a great game of football. Lots of chances, qualities on both sides. And we had a Dini and Rabiot on fire today on the left side, and everybody does the job. And what I loved is the unity that the players showed, working hard, coming back, and Nkunku, Thuram, and Kolo Muani working also defensively, which is something we don't see a lot, you know, especially when some other players are there. So it's a good thing. It's a good point, or good 3 points for Didier Deschamps. And let's see in March how it works.
What did you like today, Jules?
I like a lot of things, you know. I mean, the 3 goals are all on set pieces. So in terms of during the game with the ball, we didn't really create too much. But it's been a long time since we scored on set pieces anyway, full stop, outside of penalties. So we take that for sure. The quality in the deliveries from Ding, both on the 2 corners and the free kick, obviously. And Rabiot for his return to Italy, of course, after leaving Juventus in the summer, I think was pretty special. I liked, like Frank said, the mentality of the players, the desire they had. I liked the high defensive line. I mean, in a way, they knew that Retegui was never going to hurt them in behind because Konate and Saliba are far too quick for him. And by the time that Moise Kean came on, we were a bit deeper because we had that 3-1 lead to keep and to see the game out. So tactically, I think, when we mentioned that Deschamps tactically, since the Euros and even during the Euros, struggled a little bit. I thought he got it spot on tonight. Everything they did in terms of discipline, in terms of compactness, they were narrow when they had to. At times they suffered a little bit wide because Di Marco and Cambiaso are 2 wonderful wing backs for Italy, really 2 of the best in Europe. And they struggled a bit on that, but apart from that, they had almost a perfect game.
It's not very often you look forward to seeing Gab, but Monday may be a difference for you, Jules.
Yeah, he's been really quiet tonight, to be fair. Wow. Very quiet. Yeah, he might not show up tomorrow. He might be ill, you know.
Where would he be most disappointed with the Italian performance today?
I think Retegui was... They just could not find him. They could not find that rhythm. Even the 3 midfielders and Barella, who was playing just behind the striker, which is maybe not his best position, to be fair, because he has the game more behind him than in front of him when he plays a little bit deeper in the midfield 3, for example. I think they struggled to find Barella in good position. They struggled to find Retegui in good position. And to be fair, once France took the lead quite early in that game, really early in the game, after that, they really struggled to break down the French block. And the only time they did on their goal really is because Jules Koundé should never ever lose the ball like he does against Di Marco. He should protect the ball, get a foul, put his body in front of the ball. Instead, he tries to do like a little roulette. Di Marco gets the ball and then it's very quick, the cross, and Cambiaso scored. So, but they really struggled to break down the French defense that was really compact once they got the lead. And it's hard when you concede 3 goals on set pieces, when you're Italy as well, it's not acceptable.
Didn't you call Deschamps a dinosaur, Jules?
I didn't say Deschamps was a dinosaur. I just said, and to be fair, I think we all made the same point during the Euros. We didn't like what we were seeing from the French. And that was his philosophy for that competition. And he felt really that the only way France could go far, even further than the semi-finals, was to be very solid defensively and not do too much with the ball. And we were never, I think all of us, really keen on that. Against Israel in midweek, we saw that it was not great. Tonight was better, but again, his goal was on set pieces. You know, with the ball, as good as Kolo Muani and Thuram and Nkunku were out of possession defensively to help the team, to the movement, everything. With the ball, we didn't really create much at all. So there's still a lot of work to do, but at least in terms of discipline, in terms of what he wanted, his game plan, tonight we have to say he was spot on.
And what happens, this surely doesn't make any difference with regards to Kylian Mbappe's future, Frank?
Well, I don't think so. I think Mbappe, when he's going to be back as soon as possible for Deschamps, I think it's still Deschamps' first choice. And it's not because we saw something different. It's not because we saw also forwards defending when they lost the ball that Deschamps will think, okay, I don't need Mbappe anymore. No, it's not going to happen. Not now, at least. And I think he will have a discussion with him again and again and again. I think until maybe Mbappe understands that he has to work hard when he loses the ball, but otherwise, no, he's not going to change anything. I just want to add something about what Deschamps did, and today surprised me because he's not the kind of person who does that. But introducing in such a big game somebody in the middle of the park like Kone, and also putting Nkunku as a number 10 or even number 10, that was something different that I never seen from Didier Deschamps. Trying to surprise Italy, and I think that was a very good choice.
Interesting stuff ahead of the game. Deschamps was talking about this psychological things that the players are going through at the moment. This is just a part of what he had to say. Given all the matches that we're seeing, I spoke with some of my players after a competition like Euro 2024. They had barely 3 weeks. It's difficult to put the demands back in. They are higher and higher every time. As you must. And then sometimes you can't respond, or you respond less well, and there can be a psychological issue. Whether it's going as far as depression, I don't know, but it's a psychological state that is fragile. It is the head that commands the legs. Quite in-depth stuff there, Jules, from Deschamps. How has that been received?
Yeah, I thought he was quite honest, to be fair. He'd never really mentioned it before, certainly in that way. I agree with him, but then every single national team head coach could say the same about his players, especially the top team. So it's not just us, it's not just the French. I think this is something that we've talked about a lot now, that players individually have talked about, that coaches, managers, everybody's talked about a lot, that heavy schedule, how much it takes its toll mentally on you, physically. If you add also social media when things are not going your way and the abuse that you can get on that, all of that. So all of that we know. I mean, I think some of the response that we had back home was like, okay, this is good, Didier, but what do we do now? What do we all do, all together, us as pundits and talking about the game, the players who play the game, the ex-pros, the coaches, the ex-coaches, everybody. I think at some point we all need to sit down and find a solution for the players not to go through those difficult times. And I'm all for Deschamps to speak out about it, great. But now I think somebody, I don't know who, should come up with solutions and things so we don't have to say things like that about players.
Is he talking about Mbappe, Jules?
Yeah, and the day before, after the Israel game, he said, listen, this is not a good moment for him. He said it's a complicated time in his career. Everybody, I think all the boys have had probably those difficult times in their career, whether it's on the back of an injury, through an injury, when you change clubs and it's just not working out for you exactly after that move. I don't know, there's a lot of reason why you could go through a deeper form in your career. You can't always be the best. Outside of Cristiano and Messi, even them sometimes are not even the best. So he basically, I think, said that right now he needs to just focus on his club and get back to his best. And he said it again in his pre-match conference and on Sunday morning on French television. He said there's no doubt he will be back at his best again very soon. There's no reason why he wouldn't. But right now, it's a bit more difficult for him, which is the truth. And just to go back to what Frank was saying, he made a really good point about the team spirit tonight and the unity that we saw on the pitch. And when Kylian comes back, which will be in March, obviously, we can't have 10 players and him. Mm-hmm. It will have to be 11 again, like we saw tonight. Everybody fighting for the same thing. Everybody fighting for each ball. Everybody being together. That team unity. That when he's there, sometimes it's him and the others and the other 10. And we can't have that. Otherwise, we will not go anywhere.
A bit like Real Madrid last season.
Well,
everyone together, everyone on the same page, fighting, win La Liga, win the Champions League. You drop Kylian Mbappe in there, and it's very simplistic, it's very naive, and I'm not saying that he is absolutely the reason why everything has gone wrong, but there is a part, isn't there?
And if he doesn't, and it's not all about him, obviously, but if he has the same traits that he had at PSG and for France, i.e. the sort of unwillingness at times to track back and do the hard yards, then that will spread. And when that spreads to another guy like Vinicius Junior, who's also inclined to be of the same mindset at times, not all the times, then you could have 2 of them, maybe 3. And so I think that is important that for Real Madrid and for France, that it has to be about the 11, as I said. And we've seen times this season where Carlo Ancelotti has moved both Mbappe and Vinicius Junior in terms of from where they started the game to where they ended up midway through the first half, because they weren't doing a job defensively. And you know, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. And Real Madrid and I suppose France are going to find it more difficult to be successful. They have had success with Mbappe, of course they have, but more difficult to continue that if he's not rolling his sleeves up and working hard. And you know, I think with his struggles at Real Madrid at the start of the season, it's a good starting point. You know, hard work, grit,
right,
closing down, tackling, getting the crowd on your back, then the rest will just come into play.
The thing is, the problems between for Kylian Mbappe with France and Real Madrid just seem so similar. He's not working back, he's not contributing defensively, everybody has to kind of pick up the pieces, and while that's well and good, while France are winning and you see what it means, World Cup finals in 2022, all of a sudden now he's left out of the squad, and yes, Frank touched on it, everybody's working defensively. Now, him coming back into the squad, there's an expectation there. Now, while the problems are similar, you just wonder about the solutions from a Real Madrid perspective. Do they leave out Kylian Mbappe in the way that Didier Deschamps did? And I know there was a discussion between Deschamps and Mbappe, and they figured out that this was the right thing to do. But given how much they're paying Mbappe weekly, given Florentino Perez courting of Kylian Mbappe for 3 years or whatever it was, does Carlo Ancelotti now, given their struggles, have the standing to say, you know what, I'm going to have a similar conversation with Kylian Mbappe. I'm going to leave him out for a week or two. The team wins, and then that kind of sends a signal. When Kylian Mbappe was injured and missed a couple of games earlier this season, there was no real change in Real Madrid. Maybe that's what's needed from a Real Madrid perspective, but just kind of given how this season's gone, given the pressure that Ancelotti has now found himself under, which is not foreign to him, but you just wonder if that's at all a realistic option.
Is it going to work out, Jules?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It will work out. I just think those players are too good not to work out. But we said when he signed, we said even when he was about to sign for Real Madrid, we said it will take time. It's not because you have the best team in the world and you put one of the best players in the world in that best team in the world that everything is going to be perfect and it will click straight away and things are going to work out. You need a bit of work still in everything. It's the same. Like, you know, look at our team. We've got a world-class team. If you bring another world-class pundit in it, it will work. But sometimes it just needs a bit of work. It's the same for Real Madrid. You know, we are a bit of Real Madrid of team.